Hi and welcome to another episode of Auscam Tutorials. Today it's all about tripods and when you should use one. One of the questions we get here at Auscam is that age-old chestnut: when should I use a tripod? And the answer, which we invariably give, is all the time. Well, strictly speaking, that's not true. There are only a couple of situations where you should not use a tripod. That is, where it's unsafe, it's impractical, or the script doesn't call for it. So let's have a look. You're a little bit disappointed with the vision that you're currently shooting, and you'd like it to be a little bit better. Well, so would we. Here's just a couple of tips that I've put together over the years and worked out the hard way. For you, it's easy. The biggest thing is to keep your camera still. Holding your camera just like this is not going to keep a very still shot at all. If you want your pictures to be still, then keep the camera still. It's easy to do using a stills camera because you're shooting at say 1/125th of a second to a couple of thousandths of a second, so the camera is still during the exposure. But it's a different kettle of fish when you've got a video camera in your hand. Try holding a camera dead still for 10 seconds. So what you need to do is keep it still, and the easiest way is to buy yourself a tripod. What tripod should you buy? The answer is simple. The best one that you can afford at the time. Down the track you might be able to upgrade to some of the newer ones, the nicer ones with the super duper fluid heads, such as those made by Liebeck, or even the Rolls-Royce Miller, which is Australian designed and built and owned. In fact, the camera that I'm shooting this on is standing on a Miller tripod. That's why the picture's so steady. To show you the difference between tripod, handheld and even bad tripod technique, I went down to the port of Echuca, which happens to be the home of the world's largest paddle steamer fleet. Here first up, we locked the tripod. We've aimed it, focused it, cropped it, and then locked the tripod down. Beautiful still picture, but things in the picture are moving. It's watchable, it's nice. Then the paddle boat moved, and I decided to hand hold it while panning. Okay, this is starting to look very amateurish. Not good. This one is a telephoto shot. I zoomed in, locked it, framed it, and then I decided to go handheld, exactly the same frame. Notice the difference? Then let's go wide angle. Again, the tripod's locked down and the picture is rock solid. Go wide angle, handheld. Here's the last one. We've chosen the photo and we've locked the tripod down. And now compare it to having the camera on a tripod, but it's not locked down and you've got your hand on the pan bar thinking that you're keeping it still. The camera motion is very apparent, isn't it? Doesn't work. So if you want to use a tripod for still shots and nice shots in any of your work, then use the tripod, find the tripod locks and use them. So this brings us to another point. When should you go legless? Legless as in without the tripod. Well, as I said before, there are only three situations. The first is when it's unsafe to do so. The second is when it's impractical to do so. And the third one is should the script call for it. Now, there are a couple of fantastic movies out at the moment. There's The Hurt Locker and The Green Zone. Both of these movies were shot using a strict handheld technique, and it's apparent. You are there. You are in the first person standing right next to the main talent as the bombs are literally going off. It puts you right there. But that is a special technique used creatively throughout the whole movie for that one particular emphasis of putting you in the shot itself. For 9 times out of 10, you'll need to have your camera locked down on a tripod so that you can get a still camera shot. A still image, but with things in the picture moving, are easier to watch than handheld hose cam, which is what a lot of us are guilty of. So how do you get out of this situation where you need to keep the camera still and you don't have a tripod or you can't use one there? Well, it's very simple. Here, like Alex has got, hand hold the camera, but don't use the flip screen. Keep it up to your face. Use your face against the viewfinder and both hands on the tripod and both elbows against your side. That way you are stabilizing the camera onto 3 points, your forehead and both hands. The camera is going to stay a lot more stable and a lot more still for those situations. So you need to move the camera down closer to the ground but not quite on the deck. Well, do the same again, but use your knees as a brace. Or indeed you can use anything around you, such as this car, as an object brace. Anything to hand to keep the camera still will be perfect. Well, let's go a little bit to the side. Here's a small camera on a reasonably big tripod. This to me would be the optimum. And then again, having a look at this when it's mounted on top of a Miller tripod, does that seem like overkill to you? Well, not to me. So, you're in the store and you're looking at tripods. There's a whole stack of them out there for you to have a look at. And you want to know which one is best for you. Okay, so you've sorted out the budget side of things. I know budget shouldn't come into it, but let's be real. You've got to get the best one that you can afford at the time. So grab your tripod and then put your hand on top and do the twist test. Place your hand there and press down hard and turn it and see if it moves. If it doesn't, all the better. If it does, forget it. It's a cheap and nasty and won't last you more than 10 minutes in the field. Now when it comes to the heads themselves, you don't actually have to have a fluid head. You just have to have a head that you can move very smoothly. So there you have it. All about tripods. And that's all there is in this quick little episode from Auscam.